Glad you made it. For all my friends online there as well, welcome. Glad you made it here this morning. We're here. Hey, we just passed the 1 year mark with our previous minister retiring. Reverend Cindy retired at the end of February a year ago. And when she retired, we reached out to Unity Worldwide saying, okay, we don't have a minister. We need to start a search for a new one. They told us to be patient, that it likely would take 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 years for us to find a minister. And guess what? We found one. We've got a new minister. Reverend Sharon is going to start April 1st, and she's got a message for us that we'll see a little bit later in the program. So we're pretty stoked about that. Yep. I think back over the last year, and a year ago at this time, we were averaging 20 to 25 people in the room here on a Sunday. We've doubled that. We're averaging 50. Last week we had 55. We've got somewhere around 50 in the room with us today, so that's kind of cool. Also a year ago, it was just a bunch of us old geezers plus Nolan was the thing, and we're starting to attract the younger crowd, so we're really excited, and that's fun too. Yep. So let's all stand together and sing Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and grace. I can feel the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Our mission statement.
Not yet.
Help me out here. I hope somebody's got it. We welcome all as we create a loving community, teach spiritual principles, and live life. It's that too, and live life abundantly. And okay, gotcha. So we would normally do the gratitude prayer right about now, which is about 2 screens worth of PowerPoint. So why don't y'all have a seat, and we will. Oh, there you go. Okay, have a seat, and we're going to do the opening prayer today.
Just within my file, but
there you go. Okay.
Shorter.
Please join me in our opening prayer. Today is Sunday, March the 5th, 2023. Sunday, March the 5th, 2023. If you've seen our sign out front says, "Today is a wonderful day." I've never seen this one before. I personally have never seen a Sunday, March the 5th, 2023, quite like this one. There is wonder and beauty and magic all around us today. Will you see the beauty today? Will you experience the magic today? Will you bring your best self and bring out the best in others today? Hey gang, we only get one shot at Sunday, March the 5th, 2023. We pray that our eyes and our hearts and our minds are open today so that we see Sunday, March the 5th, 2023 for all the beauty and the magic and the wonder that's offering us all around us all the time. And so it is. The affirmation today, once we get batteries, the affirmation is, I love myself exactly as I am. And now let's all stand and sing. If love is why I'm here.
If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why you're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. If love is why you're here, let me be an open channel. If love is why you're here, may you give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. Love is why I'm here. Let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. That's why I'm here. Let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive.
Please be seated. So I'm here with the daily word. I made up my own daily word today. The daily word today is stick-to-itiveness. Look it up, it's in the dictionary. Stick-to-itiveness is why I am so grateful and humbled and proud to be a part of this crazy circus that we call a community and that we call home. My wife is the president of the board of trustees here, so I get a sneak peek behind the curtain of the small army that it takes to do what we're doing here on a Sunday morning. And I could not be more proud that y'all stuck to it, that as a group, we see something that needs to get done and it just gets done. The trash gets taken out, the rug gets vacuumed. Most Sundays you'll see Gloria sitting in the back there with the clicker for the PowerPoint, running us through the PowerPoints. I don't know why she's the farthest one away from the TV, but she goes for extra points for toughness there. But in all seriousness, gang, I just think back over the last year and I'm humbled for what we accomplished. A month from now, we're going to have a minister in the room with us, and I'll just tell y'all, fasten your seatbelts because this rocket ship is taking off. So the word of the day is stick-to-itiveness. Please stand and join me in singing, I Love Myself the Way I Am.
I need to change. I
introduce Reverend Linda Ketchum. She has been here often over the last year, and I think we owe all of our guest speakers a round of applause for helping us out over the last year. And it's going to be a little different starting a month from now, because we're not going to have a platform speaker up here, and maybe we might. Okay. But I want to do a quick shout out to a few folks that have been doing wonderful things this last year. I'm going to start with Christine Wilson. She puts together this order of service every Sunday. That's kind of my playbook on what I'm supposed to say, when I'm supposed to say it, and when I'm supposed to go off script and all that. Did it say it right? No, it didn't. Okay. But listen to this though. Months ahead of time, Sue Carter, I don't know if she's in the room here, months ahead of time, Sue is lining up the guest speaker. That happens a few months ahead of time. A few weeks ahead of time, Joy will reach out to the guest speaker and she'll say, what's the theme for the day? And if you're paying attention, the music matches the theme every time. It's just, there's a lot of there's a lot of coordination and a lot of effort that goes into this. And I couldn't be any more humbled and proud of everybody in this room for where we've come over the last year. And like I said, fasten your seatbelts. A year from right now, this place is going to be standing room only. There's going to be little kids back in the nursery, and just watch out, everybody. So with that, do we have any visitors in the room today, here for the first time? Oh, that's right.
I'm an old timer.
You're an old timer? That counts. We'll get you a welcome packet. So with that, let me turn it over to the music team, who is going to bring us in and bring Reverend Linda up.
Living in the house where the songs belong me, where you know without a doubt that you made it home. Living in the house where the songs belong me, coming back to the holy ground that you always go. Kingdom of love, there is no competition, contradiction, no control, but you can take possession and claim your passion, looking on the things that cannot matter so. Living in the house where the songs belong me, when you know without a doubt that you made it home. Living in the house where the songs belong me, coming back to the holy ground that you always know. Step into the feet, self-remember who you are. You can take your own sweet time and ease your troubled mind in the secret sanctuary of your heart. Living in the house of the souls belong me, where you know without a doubt that you made it home. Living in the house of the souls belong me, coming back to the holy ground that you always know. Everywhere you go, living in the house of the souls belonging. When you know without a doubt that you made it home. Living in the house of the souls belonging. Coming back to the holy ground that you always know. Coming back to the holy ground that you always know. Coming back to the holy ground that you always know.
Go ahead and try to preach, Linda.
What an amazing, thank you very much. What Greg didn't say is I was the minister who was here that Sunday. So it has been a year that I have spoke here once a month except for January. And I was going to say a lot of the stuff Greg said, but he did it much better than I would have. Y'all have been amazing. As the founding minister of a church, I probably know as much or more about what it takes to get one going and keep it going than probably anyone who would stand up here. It takes a lot of people being willing to do more, to do what it takes. They say that it is generally 20% of the people who do 80% of the work. I have a strong feeling that that's not true here. I have a feeling that there are more than 20% of the people that do the work. If that was not true, you would not be sitting here today welcoming in a new minister in 5 weeks. You have done an amazing job. Your leadership has done more than you can ever imagine. And you need to say thank you to each one of them and give yourself a pat on the back and a round of applause. I'm proud to have been part of this, and I'm excited about what you all have to come. So today I am going to talk about being true to yourselves or being true to ourselves. And this is really about integrity and authenticity. And I think this topic may even be more important today than it was when I decided to do it. When Joyce sent me her little note, she always sends me 3 weeks before, and I always say, oh my gosh, she wants another title. What am I going to speak on this month? And truly, that may be one of the hardest things about being a minister. They used to ask me for titles 3 months in advance at my church. And I really am a seat of the pants minister. So it always gets interesting. And I know I was told a long time ago in ministerial school, when you put a topic together, make it big enough to drive a truck through. And it does help. But today we're looking at being true to yourself and being authentic. And what I encourage you to do, and what I encourage your new minister to do, is to be in integrity and authentic with each other. And to come from a place within by being true to yourself. One of the things I would like to remind each one of you is to be yourself because everyone else is already taken. Think about it a minute. You are the only you on this planet. You are the only you that knows who you are. And even more than that, you are absolutely perfect at being who you are. So embrace it, embody it, and be it. I saw a cartoon yesterday, and I don't know if I can get the look right, but it's this little girl, and she's about 2 or 3, and she's sitting there just like this. And the thoughts in her head are, you wanted me to walk, and you wanted me to talk, and now you're telling me to sit here and be quiet. If you ever felt that way, more about walking and talking. We have a tendency, let me rephrase that. I have had a tendency in my life to possibly worry more about what other people thought than to be in integrity with myself. I did several weekend retreats with a group called Life Success in Cincinnati. And Mike Monahan was the leader. Tremendous, tremendous speaker. A guy that could get into your head and think, oh my God, I can't believe I do that. But he was talking about integrity one day. And I thought, I'm always in integrity. I live in integrity. And then he said something about being in integrity with myself. And I realized I wasn't quite where I thought I was. That I didn't necessarily listen to what was going on inside of me when I made a decision or went along with the decision. My granddaughter is a freshman in college. Her brother he was 11 when this happened. He's 12 now. I would say her little brother, but I realized this week that he is now actually taller than I am. So I don't think I can call him little anymore. It was quite discouraging, actually. He's my youngest grandson, and now he's taller than I am. I still have great-grandsons, though. They've got a way to go. But Natalie called him early in the school year. And she says, Clayton, get your homework done. Get it done early in the week. And don't lie to Mom. If you lie about having your homework done, or if you lie about doing something, you're just going to feel bad and feel sick. So just get it done. And if Mom is standing over you, yelling at you to do your homework, which she can do quite well, by the way, she's still your biggest supporter, your biggest help. But what this said to me was she was telling Clayton to live in integrity and to be authentic. Now, the real kicker in this story is Clayton is an honor roll student. Natalie, we didn't know till 2 days before graduation if she was going to make it or not. So this was a message from the heart. She had a paper or presentation that had to go before peer review, and her regular teacher didn't like what she had in it and had her rewrite part of it before it went to peer review, and she ended up with the highest grade in class. So it all worked out, and she actually made the honor roll last quarter. So she has listened to her own words, but she has come from a place where she realizes, whether she knows it or not, that she needs to be in integrity with herself. In Bangkok, there is a golden statue of a Buddha. which stands 9.8 feet tall and weighs 5.5 tons. It is worth approximately, and there's no telling how old this number is, $250 million in gold. It is believed that it was built in 1403. In 1757, the Burmese army invaded Thailand, and the Buddhist monks at this monastery covered the golden Buddha with plaster and mud and painted the inlays with a bit of colored glass to hide its value from the invading army. During the invasion, none of the monks survived, but the golden Buddha remained undiscovered. In 1957, an entire monastery was moved and was being relocated by the monks. And while they were moving the statue, their ropes broke. Now we're talking about a 5.5 ton statue, so they would have needed some pretty good sized ropes. And when it fell to the ground, a chunk of the plaster broke off. And for the first time, they realized it was gold and what it was worth. Under the plaster of our own thoughts and beliefs that are not the truth of who we are lies ourselves, our golden Buddha. And now inscribed either on that statue or the area where it stands is the statement, know thyself. And it's more than know thyself. It's living in integrity with yourself. It's being willing to do the hard things. The great identification then is to come to believe with absolute certainty that there is something in you that is divine. It is eternal, it is transparent. Gradually chip away everything that hides the sight of the integrity of your soul. It is the only thing you have. It is the only thing you brought with you. It is the only thing you will take with you to the beyond. To thy own self be true. And that is the starting place. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself because you believe in God. And even more than that, trust yourself and believe in yourself. Because as I said before, you are you absolutely perfectly. And you are one with God. God is working for you and through you in every moment. So in order for that to really show up, we have to be true to ourselves. We have to be willing to make the hard decisions. Fillmore said, integrity spiritually, that quality of consciousness which makes one unswerving in their conformity to the divine standards. He said that's spiritually. But at a human level, integrity is the quality of consciousness which makes us unswerving in our commitment to our own standards. And too many of us, too many times in our lives, have bypassed our own standards. I found a quote yesterday that online that kind of bugged me, shall we say. It said that if you faked it, there will be a lot of more people around you than if you stand in integrity with yourself. I didn't like that. And then I got to thinking, and I've thought a lot about it since I found it. So there was probably it was probably meant to be that it showed up on my phone yesterday and I happened to see it as much as I have thought about it. But that could well be true, because when we are in integrity with ourselves and willing to make the tough decisions and be true to what we truly believe, some of the people that don't need to be around us in the first place fall away. And that's a good thing. So sometimes, many times, it's better to not take the easy way out, to not lie about whether or not you got your homework done or whatever else. If you want more in-depth information about what I'm going to talk about right now, there's a blog called, all one word, Tracking Happiness. And I cannot pronounce this woman's name, but she wrote a article called Living in Integrity. She's from somewhere overseas, and I can't remember where it is. But I found an online definition of integrity that says, firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values, uncorruptible and unimpaired condition, soundness, the quality or state of being complete or undivided, completeness. And when I think about integrity and authenticity, to me they're the same. They're two different sides of the same coin. Because if you live in integrity with yourself in particular, you are also authentic. You're not putting on a face for whoever you happen to be with. You are being true to who you are. So what are some attributes of integrity? Dependability. Dependability means that you can be relied on and you keep your promises. Loyalty. This is valued not only by employers, by friends. Again, it's about doing what you say you're going to do and doing it to the best of your advantage. Honesty. Not only being honest with others, but being honest with yourself. And I will admit, honesty to myself is not always my easiest thing to do. And expressing good judgment. And being respectful. And being respectful to yourself and respectable to others is probably one of the most important parts of this whole thing. Because we still live in a world where we communicate with other people. And if we do not communicate with them with respect, they're not going to listen to what we say, and they're not going to want to be around us. And if we're not respectful to ourselves, we don't want to be around ourselves. One of Jesus' commandments was love your neighbor as you love yourself. Well, there's a real catch in that statement. Many of us don't love ourselves. So how do we love our neighbors if we don't love ourselves? So we really, being a human being has a lot of responsibilities. And the thing is that when you're introduced to New Thought philosophies and metaphysics and unity or Centers for Spiritual Living, it demands that you take responsibility for your own life and how you react with others. Ernest Holmes has said about the teachings of religious science that it's a simple practice. It's just living it that's hard. Because, you can state the principles, but you got to live the things. So how do we live in integrity to be true to ourselves and others? One of the first things we need to know are, what are our values? What do we truly value? we went through a period in Centers for Spiritual Living, and it was probably when it was still religious science, that they would send out all these value surveys. And they would try to figure out what the values of the different churches were. I hated filling those out. I'm sorry, I really did. And I don't remember what mine were, but it is important to know your values, and it is important to live from those values and to interact with others from those values. If you want to take a look at what your values are, Dr. Russ Harris has a value handout sheet that you can download on the internet. He has I think he has 38 values listed and a nice definition of them. And then the last two are you can add your own. But things like integrity, acceptance, responsibility, support, compassion, forgiveness, being thankful, things like that. But it might be a really good idea just to sit down and take a few minutes and define what your values are. And ask yourself, am I living from these values? Does anyone who knows me, can they tell what my values are by the way I interact with them? Do I need to shift some of this stuff around? And the second part is to make conscious decisions. To think from the inside to perform or to experience the outside. It's been an interesting year because I had 2 different times to truly look within and see if I was called to be a pulpit minister again, full time, and to let go of a center online that I've been part of for 8 years. Because I'm pretty sure, since I'm very clear it's not my responsibility to try to save it, that it will probably have some of its last meetings in this month. And that's fine, because it's not mine to do. It was mine to write the letter because of the board president. But one of the things I put in there was, if you come up with a great idea to save this center, and I didn't phrase it that way, be willing to do the work to input it, to implement it. Don't expect to pass it to someone else. Step forward and be the leader that you are. That wasn't an easy sentence to write, but it was very true and very necessary. One of the examples the writer of this article used was how much time she had wasted in her life, or spent in her life, trying to decide where she wanted to go eat. I used to, when I worked out at Ride Pad, I would go out to eat with these 2 guys, and they never knew where they wanted to go eat. So I'd say, where do you want to go eat today? And they'd say, we don't know. And I'd say, okay, we're going so-and-so. But we have to be willing to make those decisions. But we need to put the thought into it first and be in integrity and authentic with the decisions we make, rather than just letting them happen. And small choices are a good place to start. The third part of this is being honest, and we already talked about that a little bit. Being honest with ourselves and being honest with others. Now, this does not mean that an occasional white lie is part of living in this world. And we do those sometimes. I am very blessed in that my husband may like to dance more than I do. And we are ballroom dancers. We actually drove up to Salina last night and went to the Eagles and danced there. It's probably one of the nicest dances I've been to in a while. It's just an hour drive each way. But I had been thinking about this all week. Bill has this one move that I absolutely hate. And so he started doing it last night. And he actually had a reasonable reason for it. And the words out of my mouth were, I hate this move. Trust me, this is not the way you want to do honesty or compassion. He didn't say anything, but he was actually moving me across the floor so we had some room to dance. But I should have done that a lot differently, not just a little differently. I should have explained to him that I feel like I've been captured when he does this move. And it's not comfortable. So, this is another thing. When you decide to assert yourself, and being assertive is part of it. And being assertive, I have a tendency to go from passive and totally skip assertive and hit aggressive. That's not the way to do it either. But, when you're doing honesty and you're doing assertiveness, you need to think about how you say things and how you interact with others. Because a better thing to have said to Bill, not on the dance floor, was, that move you do that you wrap me up so tight I can't hardly move? That makes me very uncomfortable, and I would prefer if we didn't do it very often. And I may have to have this talk with him when I get home. But, there are ways, using I statements. One of the examples was, in all of us have had people in our lives who don't bother to call when they're going to be late. And then you can make up all kinds of drama in your head about what's going on. And sometimes just saying to them, I would really appreciate it if you called me, because when I don't know what's going on, I get fearful and anxious. And I would really appreciate it if you would just call and let me know that you're going to be late or something like that. Which is much better with, I can't believe you didn't call me. I might have said that once or twice. But those are important things. So the bottom line is, living authentically and integrity is knowing who you are and being true to yourself and actually living from that point. To me, it all comes down, as I just said, to loving yourself and knowing my oneness with God. When you love yourself, you love spirit, and know you are loved by spirit, and you love others and treat them with love and respect. It all comes back to learning to love yourself. If you love yourself, it is much easier to love others, to live in integrity, to be honest, and to communicate and take care of yourself in a positive manner. So as we have said many times in these teachings, unity, religious science, Christianity, love is the answer. And it is the answer to living a life filled with some of the best things. Join me in prayer. Actually, before we do that, we're going to do something a little different today. I'm going to have you meditate a couple of minutes on what your values are, and if you're living at them. And then I'm going to do the prayer. And at a point during the prayer, I am going to offer you the opportunity to speak the name, either silently or quietly, of someone you want included in this prayer. I would recommend you use your own name. You don't have to say what you want for this person, but just speak that name quietly and know that God knows, and that is included, this person, in that prayer, in our prayer. So let's just take a moment and take a deep breath. And ask yourself, what are the most important values in my life? Is it love? Is it friendship? Is it honesty, integrity, forgiveness, acceptance? Whatever else you think of. And as a value pops into your head, ask yourself, am I living, expressing this value? Am I expressing it in my relationship with myself, my relationship with others, in my relationship with God? Am I in integrity with my values? And am I living an authentic life? And feel the love, the joy, the peace, the wisdom, the health, the vitality that is God, that is Spirit, that is the very breath you breathe, the water you drink, that one heart beating. All is God. That infinite wisdom that is God, the wholeness that is God, is the truth of the day for each one of us. And knowing the love, the light, the joy, the peace, the wisdom that is God, that is Spirit, that embraces each one of us. I know that we are one with the one. That the health of God is our health. The abundance of God is our abundance. The love of God is our love. The peace of God is our peace. We are God expressing each one of us absolutely perfectly. And in this space of oneness, this space of wholeness, and knowing the power, the passion, the wisdom that is God, I ask you in this moment to silently or quietly say the names of any people or persons or animals that you would like included in this prayer. And just take this moment to include those individuals now. Cameron, Bill, Lisa, Jill, Alec, Danielle, Clay. And just feeling the wholeness, the love, the joy, the peace that is God, that is Spirit. Speaking these words and knowing they are done. In gratitude and thanksgiving, I lovingly release these words to Spirit. And so it is. Amen.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me, and it returns to me, and it returns to me. It returns to me. It returns to me. It returns to me.
Nick was not here 2 months ago. We got Nick here on the vocals. And we would be remiss if we did not thank Reverend Linda one last time for everything you've done. Let's now do our offering blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful.
And now, if the ushers would come forward, and if I could ask Reverend Linda to bless the offering.
One reason I hold my iPhone when I do this is I want to make sure we bless anything that comes in electronically, because I think it is very important and something that is easily missed. So I'm not totally weird, just moderately weird. And we just take this moment to say thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this community. Thank you, God, for their love and support and for the divine offerings that have been received. We bless these offerings. We bless the individuals that have given both here today, electronically, and every other way that is given, knowing that this offering goes forth, pays the bills, and is multiplied tenfold, returns not only to this community, but to each giving being. And in this space of gratitude and thanksgiving, I say thank you, God, as I lovingly release these words to Spirit. And so it is. Amen.
I mentioned earlier that we have a video from our new Reverend Sharon, and her husband, Rick. So if things go the way that we're hoping to go, we've got a video of Reverend Sharon and Rick. Let's see if we can pull this off.
Hey everybody! We're so excited about coming. So I got a start date of April 1st, and I give notice here on Tuesday. So we're really excited about that. Now my first Sunday will be Easter Sunday, April 9th. And what better time to have a new beginning, because Easter Sunday is all about resurrection, right? It's about starting over. It's about renewal. It's about having a really new beginning. And this is the opportunity for all of us is to move forward, to shine, to grow, to renew ourselves. So what a wonderful opportunity this is going to be. So we're so excited and we're on our way. Woo, woo.
Nice. It worked. Hey, lots of kudos to go around. I'm about to go through the announcements here, but while we're thanking everybody, right after this at 12:30 is going to be our annual business meeting. I welcome all of you to stay for the annual business meeting. We have 2 people leaving our board of trustees and 2 others are going to be voted in today. So that's just part of how we operate here. But one shout out I want to give, and I'm going to get emotional here for a minute with you guys. I'm going to give a shout out to my high school sweetheart. Colleen is the president of the board of trustees here, and she works tirelessly to pull all this off. She has spent countless hours on this business meeting coming up. She is up at dawn on the phone, checking in with people if they're sick, checking in to make sure everybody's doing well, answering emails, answering a bunch of texts from this one over here, and just making sure everything goes well. So I want to give a round of applause to all of the board of trustees and Colleen in particular and everybody else that's doing it. All right, now for the fun stuff. Sunday, March 26th, we're going to have a comedy concert. A gentleman named Greg Tamblin. Some of you may have heard that name. He's a multi-award-winning humorist and musician. Including one of the awards is the prestigious Grace Note Award for Lifetime Achievement in Positive Music. He's been called the contemporary Mark Twain. According to his website, his performance provides elevated endorphins, simplified amusement, and even improved digestion. So he's going to be our guest speaker that day on the 26th. And then at 1 o'clock, he's doing a concert here, a comedy concert. So I welcome you to do that. Tickets are $15 ahead of time and $20 at the door. Wednesday night is our monthly drum circle. Lisa Boynstenbuck here and Dale in the back there are the ones that lead. I've heard that if things go well, Reverend Sharon and Rick may be here for the drum circle. They're in town this week closing on a property that's about 7 minutes away from here, and they've got a lot of loose ends to tie up. But if they can tie up loose ends, they've said they'll try to make it by. No promises, but they might be here Wednesday night. Tracy Ruckersfeld will be presenting the Power of Crystals workshop on Saturday, March 18th from 11 to 2. Each participant will receive a crystal to work with and keep. The workshop's $20 a person and is limited to 20 people. Reverend Chase is planning a new ongoing group, the Next Gen YOU Unitine Service Project and Social Time. The first organizational meeting will be on Sunday, March 19th from 1 to 3. This is for ages 11 through 35-ish. Finally, Easter's almost here. There are Easter lilies and hyacinths for sale out in the lobby. If you want to do that in memory of somebody or in honor of somebody, we're going to list all the names of the people that you buy these for in the Sunday bulletin. And then you're welcome to take the flowers home with you afterwards. So with that, I want to remind the online audience and all of you in the room here that you are the light of the world. With that, let's all